How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today, taking the old goddamn horse out for a little lap around the map. I'm doing the contract called Reloading, which is a bit of a simple one, but it unlocks a warehouse, which I'm kind of prioritising them over just the normal missions that don't really unlock much other than money and XP at the end. And yeah, I'm on Flatlands for this one. I'll just click on the mission, and you need to go and get it's like a large service scout trailer, I believe it's called. Which, yeah, you're obviously going to need to tow it with a scout. So I could have put it in a truck, and I would have obviously taken a goddamn horse with me anyway. But yeah, I figured why not let the horse loose on the map. And then yeah, so I'm going across the dam, yeah, to that nuclear power plant thing, and then you got to basically take it like the other side of the water. There's a dock that kind of needs fixing up, so I'm going to go the long way round along the bottom of the map, across a bridge. I mean, in theory, if I brought a truck, we could do a bit of a zombie winching over the water, but I probably did enough of that at the weekend in a live stream. Went for a bit of a swim on that one. And yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons I always like the goddamn horse. Got nice consistent speed. It's quicker than people realise. He is low-key rapid. Yeah, I figured it out when I used to do them rallying videos, and I was on, was it Northport or something? And the loaf got within like, I can't remember, was it 10 or 30 seconds or something of the quickest trucks in the game going like from one end of the map to the other. And yeah, I actually think as well since then the loaf is quicker. For one, I believe they've added that custom 180 or whatever engine it is. And I don't know, the top end feels pretty nice. That's what she said. But yeah, well, I mean, look at him go. He's got a good pace to him. He's trying to trying to spin the camera out. I was like, oh shit, nearly crashed. However, we rescued it at the last second. I didn't quite hit the wall, and then I knew there was a curb coming up. We hit it, bit of two-wheel action. Oh, some Tokyo loaf drift. Smack that sign out of the way, stick that in your directions and smoke it. Yeah, I mean, it's good times with a loaf, isn't it? He says, I went to steer. I don't think the loaf got the memo on that particular one. See, what I should have done, amateur mistake on my part, I should have fired a spider winch out to the side and just swung around. That's what I normally do, but it snuck up on me. Thumbnails, there's a lot to pick from. Oh yeah, this is obviously OG Loaf. I had to go and find him. I nearly had to go and make a missing poster for him. I was looking around and I was like, shit, where have I left OG Loaf? I know it kind of happens this way. I was going to say it was the last loaf I checked. Obviously, it kind of tends to be. You know when people say, oh, I found my keys, it was the last place I looked. It's like, well, yeah, you're not going to keep looking for your keys after you found them, are you? So it's always going to be the last place you looked. But this was actually like the final loaf. I'd gone on every map. I'd looked at, I don't know, 20, 25 loafs I've probably already got scattered around across these maps. And yeah, I was kind of thinking, shit, I'm running out. And I went to Elvira Hills last, and he was on the Zik 605R, where you get the, whatchamacallit, that fem truck. So I'd originally found that, scavenged it, done the mission, and yeah, it must have been just after I explored the map, Elvira Hills. And yeah, forgot I'd left him there. Because normally, I pretty much always take OG Loaf out for the exploration videos, but I normally recover him afterwards, because touch wood, it's not really happened for ages now, but way back, yeah, not too long after the game first come out, around the time they added the Rift map, I believe, but there was, it stole a loaf off me, and it stole my Voron Grad. Well, yeah, that was enough. Lesson learned. The Voron Grad particularly, that one hit me hard. That was like a 130 grand truck. And yeah, that was back when there was no mods, no big fat missions paying out 20 grand or anything. I had to do it the hard way, that's what she said, and yeah, grind the crap out the cargo container contest thing to re-earn that. And then yeah, it stole my loaf, but it's genuinely true as well. At some point, about a week before it stole my loaf, the loaf cloned itself, and then I had two loafs. And I didn't buy two. It just there was a few people saying similar glitches were going on at the time. Yeah, and I painted one of the loafs yellow, which I thought was the loaf that it had cloned. And then about a week later, the game stole my loaf, which was the black loaf. And I was like, what the fuck, it stole OG loaf. But I had the footage from about a week previous where it had cloned the loaf. And I went and looked through it. And then the previous like footage to that, so I could see where OG loaf was in the garage. And it genuinely, like, I had painted the wrong one yellow. So OG loaf was actually yellow for about a week. And he tricked the game, outplayed it. A goddamn 4D chess player. Yeah, he cloned himself, painted himself yellow, and then the game stole what it thought was OG loaf, but it wasn't. And then I painted him black again, and he's OG loaf. And the game didn't win. And not only when the game stole fake loaf, it gifted me a Dan that was back on the quarry map, which was about 130 odd grand, I think, because it was like roughly stock. Which, yeah, covered the cost pretty nicely. Or 120, well, it was about 10 grand less than the Voron that it stole off me. Which, yeah, well, I mean, it'll do. I cloned a loaf, and I got a Dan in exchange for a Voron grad. But it did also steal about 20 trailers from my quarry, which I've slowly been restocking the pond ever since then with the gameplay and review videos. I'm running out of room on everything, to be honest. Like, not only memory and all that on the PlayStation, but yeah, on the gameplay and review videos on Northport, there's so many trailers now that if I spawn a vehicle on that map, it doesn't show up on the map. I can only select vehicles that have been on there for ages. Yeah, the quarry is getting a little bit rammed, to be fair, these days. Loaf so quick, it's like a time traveller. I thought, oh, it must be getting on. Like, I best save the footage just in case. It's only about 6.5 minutes. He was absolutely flying. Yeah, I've been yapping away, but this is the trailer you have to go and get from that nuclear place, if it is a nuclear place. And yeah, for the most part, there's been a few, like, 1 or 2 patches as you're driving along. Thankfully, these sort of mud roads don't really make too much difference. You can tell it's now going into, like, slightly thicker mud, but this is where I think they just overly punish scouts, hence why just did a hard right there, and yeah, instead of going like along the road, I'll just cut along the bank, which you can see usually works out a lot better. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Funnily enough, I did what do you call it, pre-order that Expeditions game now. Cheers to Kenneth Russ as well for reminding me. It worked. I put my TV remote on the PlayStation to remind myself, and about an hour after the stream, after I'd fed the cat and got something to eat and all that, I was like, where the hell's my TV remote? Found it on the PlayStation. It's like, why is it on there? Oh yeah, I need to go and order that game. And yeah, so I went and found it on the PlayStation store. Do you know what, I miss the days where, you know, there was a game and you just buy the game. And then now there's like usually multiple different versions. There's like the game, Expeditions, a Mud Runner game or something. Then there was the Year 1 edition. Then there was like the Supreme edition or something. I can't remember. I got the fattest one just because I did actually look through the menu. Apparently, I'll get early access 96 hours before the game releases, which it says it's got about 5 days until it comes out. So I don't know if I'm going to get it in about a day or if I'm going to get it in about 5 days. I'm sure at some point it said expected on the 1st of March, and then I looked at it tonight and it said expected on the 3rd of March. So again, I don't really know. But yeah, I went and re-watched some of the videos. Although I had seen them before, but I actually paid more attention to them. And it's looking pretty interesting, to be honest, because there's a few things that are features multiple people have said, and I've said the same, that I wish they'd add into this game. It appears you'll be able to attach a winch, like, it seems to screw into the ground or whatever. And yeah, so you can kind of put a winch anywhere. I will just throw it out there. Lo4f was the OG mobile winch point before there was even mobile winch points. He figured it out. But yeah, now. Also, I did see in one of the videos, which was important because I would have thrown my PlayStation out the window if it wasn't the case. I did spot the Lo4f in one of the videos, so he is definitely in that new game. Which, yeah, I did not part with any money until I seen that he is in the game. It appears there's some kind of jack screw. I remember both times I watched the video, for some reason, I looked away at the split second that that bit of the footage happened, and then, but apparently there's a way that you can tip yourself back to your wheels if you roll, so unlike this game where it just sort of stalls you. Which I agree with that, because again, it's one of the things in this game, if you tip, it's an inevitability that I can go back to the garage, spawn a vehicle, and then go and rescue whatever vehicle I've rolled. Like, it's just a matter of time, really. So, not saying they should do this instead, but you know, like, if the mission sort of, you'd fail it if you rolled and you had to start the mission again, that'd be more traditional as far as like a mission goes. I still prefer it like this, where you can just, yeah, if you do roll, you can just go and send another rescue truck in and all that. But yeah, it appears you'll be able to like flip yourself back. And the other thing I like is well, there seems to be different tyre pressures. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, you're able to, like, you could clip your winch to a tree and then start driving down a cliff and feed more winch out instead of only being able to pull the winch in, which I like the sound of that as well. And then yeah, this mission, it unlocks this warehouse. So there was like a multi-stage pump or something, oversized cargo, that's what she said. Cargo container. Yeah, there's multi-stage pump, or whatever that is. I assume it's going to be some pretty specific thing for a mission or contract. And then concrete slabs, I think there was as well. But whatever they are, I don't really know which missions are going to be available for, but I'm just kind of working down the lists. Yeah, chipping away the ones where I get warehouse access first. But yeah, that one in the bag. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Goddamn professional, as usual. Yeah, pretty smooth sailing. That's about it for today, though. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Get yourself a loaf, because he is always a beast. And I'll be back soon.